Hi, I'm Bill Kay, and I'm getting worried about Apple, the software company, not the fruit. Yet again, they came out the other week with a new iPhone and a new operating system that were accompanied by the now mandatory unwanted extras, snafus, glitches, and what the Brits call cock-ups. The kids are tax savvy enough now to know the deal. If they really must have the up-to-the-minute iPhone, they're going to get more headaches than Mitt Romney's presidential campaign. And with its bendy case and dodgy software, the iPhone 6 has been no exception. So how come so many people still lined up round the block all over the world, buying 10 million iPhone 6s in the first weekend? I'll tell you, they're simply in love with the idea of the company. Doesn't matter what it produces, they want to be part of Apple. Reporters asked kids why they had to have the iPhone 6 that day. Their answer was disarmingly simple. We are die-hard Apple fans. And I know the feeling. I am one myself, up to a point. But that's the sort of X factor that most companies would kill for. I mean, Apple could launch a writing stick full of ink, call it an iPen, and the faithful would still camp out overnight for the chance to buy. But increasingly, the fans are paying a heavy price for worshipping the great god Apple. The company is so resigned to all these early snafus and glitches that it's actually created a committee to handle them and decide what order they're going to deal with them. So they know that the public are going to be buying substandard products in the first few months until they get things sorted out. It seems that even Apple's testing department is not allowed to buy the new products or lay hands on them until they're on sale to the public. So they have no chance to put anything right until millions of people have fallen into an elephant trap. We are their test bed. As usual, they had to sort out the new operating system, but the first upgrade actually stopped users making calls. They were turning out a phone that you couldn't make a phone call on. That's like McDonald's coming up with a new quarter pounder that you can't fit in your mouth. Or Starbucks designing a new decaf latte that turns out to be undrinkable. It would be disastrous. And I think if Apple goes on the way they are, disaster is what's going to come their way. Because when companies do fall off the pedestal, it can be a long drop and a remarkably swift one. That is what has happened to Tesco, the British supermarket company that used to be the darling of the London stock market. It had plans to take over the world, but it spent 5 years shooting itself in the foot with its Fresh and Easy chain on the west coast of America. It had to sell that Fresh and Easy to Ron Burkle, the California millionaire, who seems to be doing okay with it. But for Tesco, that was the start of a downward spiral that they're still fighting with. They lost another CEO since then, and only a few weeks ago they found that senior executives were cooking the books. It just seems as if, it goes from bad to worse. But I think that they will sort things out, and I hope they do. But the CEO, the present one, has got a big job on his hands. The sad truth is, you don't see kids lining up outside grocery stores for the latest can of beans. So they're going to have trouble getting back their old customers. All the same, right now, I would rather buy Tesco shares than Apple shares. Why? Because Tesco shares are flat on their back and no one wants to go near them. There's probably more bad news to come, and cut-price competitors are snapping at their heels. Things couldn't get any worse, and that's the time to buy. Apple shares, on the other hand, look remarkably good value. Suspiciously good value, I think, for a company that's one of the biggest sources of talent in the world, operating in one of the highest growth markets in the world. Their shares should be selling at a much fancier price than they are. And that makes me wonder if investors are perhaps getting worried about Apple. Not about the new product glitches, they can live with them. But the the loss a few years ago of Steve Jobs still casts a long shadow. Things are never quite the same after a charismatic founder dies. And it makes me uncomfortable to see the way the competition is crowding round Apple. Look at the iPhone 6. It has been designed partly as a response to other smartphones that already have a bigger screen. In Steve Jobs' day, Apple didn't respond, it led the way. And that, for me, is one of the problems at Apple. Thanks very much. My name is Bill Kay.